What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today, I just want to focus on an alternative. If you're a person like me, in my household growing up, we had lots of soda, lots of juice. I probably easily drank a gallon of soda a week. And at that time, that was normal. And for some households, it still is today, although I believe we're a lot more health conscious. But you really wire your brain, especially at a young age when you drink soda all the time, that I'm actually not a person that has a sweet tooth. I don't really like candy and sweets, but I've never really liked water. Um, I can drink it. I can force myself to drink it, but I don't enjoy it. It's almost kind of like taking medicine for me. And so one of the alternatives that I have found is what I'm going to show you today of one of the things that I tend to drink 80, 90% of the time when I'm not drinking water. And I think this is especially great if you have kids, especially if they're already used to drinking juice. So I know a lot of times, like with my daughter, um, growing up, when she was young, she was allowed to drink was water. And we agreed on that, her mom and I, that I believe that she can never miss juice if she never has it. So let's just never allow her to develop that sweet. We try not to give her a lot of sweet things, especially when they're very, very young. I believe as you get older, you have a lot of neuroplasticity. In other words, you can really wire your brain when you're a kid and you can get used to things, right? A lot of things are really set in. So it was important to me that as she's developing and growing up, she didn't develop that sweet tooth. So we always just gave her water, but I would always allow her once a day to have, this is an emergency pack. And it's basically just, people actually usually take this when you're sick, but it's great to take all the time. It's just antioxidants, B vitamins, and electrolytes, and 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. So I would always tell her, you can choose when you want. You can have your what we would call it juice, right? You can have your one a day, and outside of that, she only drank water. Of course, when she got to school and that they started giving her the apple juice packs and stuff, we told them not to, but you know how kids are. Every other kid at the table has it, and I understand in that situation, you don't want her to be the only person that can't have it. So but still, she drinks a lot less juice than other kids. And this is one of the things I think you could do at home just to give your kids an alternative that's not water. We know that's boring. When they go other places, they're going to see kids with juice. And so this is what I personally like to do. Now, this is essentially like an iced tea. And like the Bible says, God gave us the leaves for our healing in the book of Genesis, right? And I know that's a scripture. A lot of people out there that like to smoke marijuana, they always make the argument, see, we're allowed to smoke. The Bible says leaves are good. I don't think that's what he's talking about. However, teas, of course, are made from leaves. Green tea is a common one. We know that has a lot of health benefits, but there are like so many wonderful teas out there, and they all have such unique, specific benefits. And so you can actually just go ahead, and what I do is I have this gallon jar right here. And what you see in the bottom of this powder is my sweetener, which stevia is what I would recommend. But stevia for a lot of people, it has a taste that they can't acquire to, that they just don't like. And I understand that. Um, and an alternative to that is sucralose. Sucralose tastes to me and to most people just like sugar. It's much, much stronger, so you need a very little bit of it. Now, sucralose would not be my first choice. And the reason why is because there is research that it can negatively impact the good microbiome in your stomach, basically the good bacteria. However, for me personally, just looking at the research, if I had to choose between sugar and sucralose, I prefer sucralose. And the difference is what sugar does is it feeds the bad bacteria. So things like candida and just the bacteria that you don't want, it will cause them to really flourish, and you'll have a lot of those things. They love to eat sugar. So the way I look at it is, if you're going to use sucralose, what you can also do is you can take like a prebiotic, a probiotic, which is basically the good bacteria in a pill form. So you get them, in your intestines. And then what they like to eat is soluble fiber, which you can get that in a supplement form, but it's also in things like apples. Apples have lots of soluble fiber in them, and this is the stuff that good bacteria love to eat. So you take a probiotic and then eat an apple with it. It's a great time to have an apples with your probiotics or your prebiotics. And yeah, that's an alternative if you just want to do sucralose. And I totally understand. It's absolutely better than soda or anything else, especially high fructose corn syrup. Almost everything you're going to find that comes from something you buy from the store, unless it's made to be healthy, it's going to have a horrible sweetener in it. So I have my stevia in here, and then what I also like is, for a lot of people when they're having tea, they like lemon tea, of course, and I do as well. So lemons, just like apples, when you bite into an apple, it turns brown, it oxidizes, they oxidize. And a lot of the vitamins and minerals and things like that, when you put them into something where it's just an open container and it's exposed to air, you really kind of only end up with the vitamin C anyway, which is a absorbic acid. So it's a lot more cost effective. This lasts me like months and months and months. This is absorbic acid, vitamin C, and it tastes just like lemon. It's got the exact same taste. It's where the lemons get that taste from, the acidic taste. So I just go ahead and put about 2 scoops of this in, and that's probably about 15 to 20 grams, or 15,000 to 20,000 grams of vitamin C. So it's got some great antioxidants in there, but it just really gives it that lemon flavor. That's optional if you like that. And then the particular teas that you use are completely up to you. There is a company called Mountain Rose Herbs, and I like them because they sell organic teas and they're already in blends. So they might have like a men's health blend that has a lot of teas in it that have benefits that are proven for, men's health. They might have a blend for women that are pregnant. They might have a blend for your lungs. I mean, they have all sorts of different ones. And they're great. It makes it easy. Now, of course, when you buy a blend like that, it's going to be a bit more expensive, but I find their prices to be pretty reasonable. It's a company that's been around for a long time. I've used them many times, but for me personally, I just kind of buy the individuals I like. So like this is peppermint. One of the most common things you'll hear about this is it's great for digestion, and it is, but it does, have a lot of other benefits as well. Hibiscus, of course, these are all organic. Hibiscus also has a lot of benefits as well, and this is kind of like a floral type of tea. Um, if you like that taste. And then the last one is actually red. It's over here, red Rubio's tea, and this is kind of taken over the green tea craze. Um, the health community tends to have like a favorite popular tea that they recommend, and that's like all they recommend for a period of time, and then it changes. The last one was green tea. Now they're saying this one has more antioxidants. I just like the taste of it. I don't really go because of, that's what people say is great. I've always found that green tea is very bland in flavor, and this has a bit of a stronger flavor to it, and I enjoy it. So I'll blend these three together, and I change all the time. When I run out of one, I might buy something else the next time, or I'll have other ones in the cabinet. That's what's cool. You can change the flavor of it. If you've got children, you can let them taste it, see what they like, and then once you know what they like, you can just come up with your formula. And this is a gallon, as I mentioned before, and then this is a tea strainer that's designed to make a gallon at a time, but it's way overkill. I mean, I fill it up, 30%, 50%, and it's more than enough. And then it just so happened I've noticed over time that it just fits perfectly in there. So for me, I can just go ahead, and to make it quick and simple for this video, I'm going to do it in the sink. But what I'll do is I'll get the water hot, and this just speeds up the process, right? You can cold brew, and that would be the better way to do it. Unless you have like a whole, I'm not sure if the sink is messing up my audio, but unless you have a whole home house filter, your faucet water is not ideal. But it also depends on where you live. There are some townships that have great water. You definitely don't want to use your faucet if you've got fluoride, so definitely check for that. But my favorite form of water is going to be a water distiller, which is what I would typically use. That's the way nature filters its water, right? It's evaporation. That's how water distiller works. It gets everything out, the fluoride. But another one is a reverse osmosis filter. They work great as well. But with those, you're going to have to change the filter in it every so often. And I've got my my water distiller going on right back here. This makes a gallon, and typically I would go ahead and do it that way. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to just kind of show you, and I'll do it this way sometimes when I'm in a bit of a rush. I get the water hot, and then once the water gets to the temperature I like, I'll just go ahead and switch it to this here and just kind of turn it down just enough so that it stays. And then I'll just go ahead and I'll let it just literally, just like a coffee machine would do. I just let it go ahead and strain through. And you can see it's already that red Rubios and the hibiscus is turning the water red. But that's it. Just like a coffee machine, it strains through, and I'll bring it all the way up until it's touching the tea, and then I'll let it sit for an hour or so and just brew that way. And so this is one of the primary things that everybody in my household drinks. I think you could make an argument that it's potentially healthier than water. Now, we need water. Water is super important. Don't get me wrong, right? But the only thing in this is going to be stevia, which there's nothing harmful about stevia. You've got the benefits of all the different vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and polyphenols and just the different compounds that you get in your tea, depending on what type of tea you're using. And then, of course, you've got a lot of antioxidants in your vitamin C. There we go, right at the top there. So this is kind of what it looks like. You can see it's already got a lot of color to it, but it will darken up more as it sits. And the tea is sitting in there. And I'll just go ahead and let it strain or let it sit for an hour or so. Then I'll go ahead and throw it in the fridge and everybody enjoys it. It tastes really good. Another thing that I'll do to change it up if I just kind of get sick of drinking tea is you can turn it into like a half and half. You can go to the store and just go ahead and get some lemon juice, a big thing of lemon juice, and you can add that to it. And if you add enough, it overpowers the tea and it actually tastes like lemonade. And what kid doesn't love lemonade, right? It's one of my favorites as well. But it doesn't have the sugar in there and it doesn't have the calories in there. And like I said, you can go ahead and use the sucralose if the stevia just is a taste that you cannot acquire yourself to, which, I totally understand. Some stevias, I would recommend to try different brands because there are some that don't have much of an aftertaste. And for some reason, there are others that have a lot. But then there are also just some people that no matter what brand you give them, they just don't like the taste. So the point is, it's still a lot better than drinking soda, than drinking juice with high fructose corn syrup in it, and just a lot of the things that we typically would drink if you're someone that drinks a lot of juice. Now, if you drink water, great. You're already doing fine and you don't have to switch. I think water is fine, but this is something that you could do if, you just want to kind of boost your health. I find that when it comes to supplements, they are just that. They are a supplement to what you're already doing. But you need to already have a firm foundation. You need to make sure that you already kind of have your diet in order. There's no point in, eating pizza and soda. Excuse me. There's no point in eating pizza and soda and a poor diet and then taking a multivitamin, right? It's to supplement what you're already doing. The most important thing you can do for your health is start off by kind of getting your diet in order, eating healthy, the things that you're drinking, because that's what you're taking in all the time, right? Continuously. And so you need to make sure that it's healthy. And just imagine a kid, like when I was a kid, I'm drinking a gallon of soda a week, right? So I'm probably drinking 4 gallons of soda a month. Now, what happens to a kid when you take that and you switch it to a gallon of this a week or 4 gallons of this a month, right? Because health is a long term thing. Unfortunately, because our bodies are so resilient, when you're doing something that's bad, you don't kind of start to see an issue until that issue is pretty far along. So it's a lot better to be proactive than try to fix it once the issue already comes, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it fruitful. If you would like to see some more videos just on kind of what I do around my kitchen, maybe my supplement cabinet, just some of the things I do in my daily routine when I wake up, what I do, just let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to make more content like this. All right. So I will catch you guys next time and I hope you have a blessed day.